So ball played up into the offside towards the cover region. The batters cross for one. They're going to come back for a second. The throw comes in. Not a good one. And the batters do.
All right, good evening, one and all, and welcome to another edition of Tea30. Here you're going to have some of the latest news from cricket around the world, cricket in New York and the rest of USA. And this evening we have a special guest with us, Mr. Ralph Tamesh of the ICF, who's going to be talking about the 33rd edition of the ICF cricket game. Ralph, welcome aboard.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good evening, and to all your listeners and everybody who's going to be in the program tonight. I do appreciate you, giving me some time here on your program, and we do welcome that. And always, you always support the Indo-Caribbean Federation at our events, and I do, want to thank you very much, and thank your viewers also.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Lenny and Matthew, any quick takes for this week? Anything special happening in the cricket world that you guys wanna drop?
Yeah, quickly, locally, big finals this week, Metropolitan League final. Westbury takes on Villagers. How many times we've seen that contest? Well, it happens again at Gateway Park on Sunday, so that one you don't want to miss. You need to go early. That's a small park, and a couple of hundred people will fill that up quickly. So if you're planning to go to the Metropolitan League final, Westbury takes on Villagers, and that's happening on Sunday at Gateway Park. Over at Nationals, interesting weekend for them. Quarterfinal starts on Saturday with 8 teams, and quarterfinals for the Sunday Lax Turbo 40 over competition begins on Sunday with 4 games. So you don't want to miss those games spread across all around Queens. So yeah, big weekend for local cricket. Big weekend.
Okay, great. Anything from you there, Matthew?
No, just to echo what my dad said. Big weekend all around when you look at it, the local New York schedule. 2 of the top leagues around, the National League, the Metropolitan League, plus the ICF game. It should be an incredible weekend. So come out. Bring the family, plan a big weekend. It's going to be grand.
Okay. And Ralph, you could quickly, we're going to get back to you in depth, Ralph, but quickly let the audience know what's going on at your end.
Well, it's the customary annual cricket match between Guyana and the rest of the Caribbean. Actually, this year we're having 2 games, the Masters games and also the senior team going to be taking part in 2 games. One starts at 9:30, the other one starts at 2 o'clock, and that will be at the Idlewild Park.
Okay, great. So great. All right, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about that ICF game. All right. So it's the ICF game this weekend. Before I go to Ralph, Lenny, talk about the significance. I know you've been commentating at most of these games. Talk about the significance of that annual game to the community, to the New York community.
Yeah, that the ICF game over the years, we've seen a lot of we have seen a lot of countries game. We've seen the days of the Caribbean Cup. We've seen the Rockaway T20 Festival, but the ICF is unique in one way. In the earlier days, we've seen a lot of good contests between Trinidad and Tobago, and the good or the bad news is that in the last 10 years or so, we've seen the decline of Trinidadian cricketers, and so Ralph and his committee have gone to such an extent that the Guyana team was so strong that to put some competitiveness into the ICF, they have gone the Guyana versus the rest of the Caribbean route, and that has really taken off. I remember my first confrontation or experience with that game would have been at Whitestone Park, and back in those days, Whitestone Park used to have about maybe 500-600 people, I recall, and it used to really be a grand event. And then, of course, the game was moved to Central Queens, and then but my uniqueness view of that game is the ability for Guyana to really take on the rest of the Caribbean. It has really never happened before in the region.
Okay, thank you for that, Lenny. So Ralph, tell us more and tell us what cricket fans and others can expect this Saturday. Saturday, August 19th. Go ahead.
Correct. So, and I see the thing with the Indo-Caribbean Federation game, like Lenny said, is a unique game. It's been around for a long time. It's been around for 32 years. This is about 30 years. And back in the days when we played at Whitestone, I mean, prior to Lenny, we used to have like about 2,000 people showing up there. Because what happened? Guys, what happened in those days, back in the late 80s or in the 90s, a lot of these cricketers that migrated to New York, like the Sushil Naran, the Amarnath Ramchartar, Derek Charan, those guys were almost in their prime. And also the same happened for Trinidad. A lot of the guys would come up here back in the days through Jimmy Maharaj. And the standard was so high. So we did have high competitive cricket. And over the years, as Lenny mentioned earlier, the decline of the Trinidad cricketers. And because the Guyana team was so strong, and not only were they strong, they had so many players. We could have picked two Guyana team. But we decided to go that route and went to the rest of the Caribbean. And the purpose of that, when we discussed it at our committee, was to bring other cricket nation involved, not only Guyana, Trinidad, but also cricketers from the rest of the Caribbean. And ever since that, it's taken off. A lot of people, comes out and look at this game, and a lot of people are given opportunity to see players from other countries other than Trinidad. And so that's where it stands right now. And this year, for the past 2 years, we had played under 25 teams, and we decided, with the request of some of the older cricketers who played in the game back in the 90s, they asked us if we can do a Masters game. And they requested it, and we discussed it. And it's an opportunity also to bring out some of the older players who played back in the 90s to showcase them, because people want to see them, because the young cricketers today do not know who Derek Charan or Zamin Amin or stuff is. So so they can see who these guys are, and just their standard is dropped, their cricket, but people can get to see the name. And that's what we are about. And back in the days, people see their names and they would come out their names, to support the cricket. So this weekend we're gonna have the first game, which is the Masters game. That's gonna be starting at 9:30, Guyana versus the rest of the Caribbean. And also at 2:00, we're gonna have the senior team, which is the regular guys that plays, current crop of cricketers. They're gonna be playing at 2:00. Both games are T20 games. And we're looking forward, for the crowd to come out there and have a good day. And also, socialize, meeting different people. And this is like in the Caribbean, we always say, cricket brings the whole nations together.
All right. Thank you for that, Ralph. You're watching Tea30. All right. So, Ralph, you're going to stay with us as we go into our discussion because part of our discussion, it relates even to what you're doing. And where we asking the question, how will the expansion of minor league cricket impact the traditional leagues we've come to know, like the Metropolitan in the New York area? How will it impact, and what adjustments may have to be made as we move forward? Dave, I'm going to start with you here. You're a guy. You would have made your comments about.
We can't see Dave. Let him come in the light.
Come in the light there, Dave. We want to hear and see you. So yeah, give us your take. How is minor league going to affect, or how do you see it already affecting some of the traditional leagues in the New York area?
I mean, it's good in a way because you have more cricket playing at a different. Because not everybody wants to play minor league, and most of the guys rather play. Some of the guys rather play their stick to club cricket, but it is cutting down the competition. But at the same time, how can I put this? I think everybody have to improvise and come up with a new solution. For a while now, cricket has been going backwards. It's been going down. So now is time for people like, I will say this, the New York Cricket League, is that what it is? NYCL or whatever. Was it again, Lynn?
National.
Yeah, national. Yeah. See, those guys had a good vision, and that lead is kicking off. That lead is taking. To me, that lead is probably better than minor lead at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of leads now have to come up with a solution how to make their lead better, because you can't compete with minor league in a sense. And for me, minor league, that's a whole different topic right there.
Matthew, from what you've seen so far, your dad would have been, been at different cricket games over the years. You would have been there at the start of the minor league in the US. What have you seen so far? Has it been more positive than otherwise, or more negative than otherwise?
It's really a tough question because I don't think there's really a simple yes or no answer to it. I think it'll depend a lot on who you ask, on what perspective or what ideas or beliefs they have regarding minor league cricket. I will say this: New York, and not just New York, but pretty much everywhere on the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. When you look at some of these places, we play a lot of cricket. Like in New York alone, we have so many leagues. We have the National League, we have the Metropolitan League, we have the Commonwealth League, we have the NYBCL. We have so many other different leagues in New York City alone. So having the idea of minor league, I think it is a good idea right on the surface, because back in the day, we didn't really have much of a system. It was either you play local cricket, and if you're that good enough, you work your way up to play for the national team. The only really in between there were things like the combines and the trials that they had for the US within certain regions. Other than that, there was no really tournament on a franchise scale like we have minor and major league. There's a lot more of a system really towards it that you can work your way up. And personally, from what I have observed, when you look at the squads in the minor league, when you look at the squads, particularly in the Eastern Division, I think you will see there is a lot more locality. I think that is expressed within the franchises in this part of the country compared to some of the other teams in the other divisions. When you look at teams like the Dallas Mustangs and the Exforia Giants, the East Bay Blazers out west, even the Chicago Kingsmen, you look at teams like that, and they are strong. They have very talented players, but a lot of their core players are players that would have played in different countries and recently relocated here to the U.S. When you look at, and this is just from my perspective, being a New Yorker, when you look at the teams on the East, you'll see a lot more locality, because there's not really as much ace players, I guess you would say, or players contracted by ace that have recently relocated here from another country. It's really only Liam Plunkett and Bhaskar Yadram that have been seen throughout this Eastern Division. So we are a division and a cluster of states as a whole that really take a lot of pride into our local players, the likes of Derek Narayan, Jesse Singh, Devish Rai Prashad, players that have played most of their cricket and have made a name for themselves here. So from that perspective, I think it's good that these players are really getting a chance to showcase their talent, really move up in rank. But again, this is where I say it depends on the perspective. The other way you can look at it is take the New York National League, for example. The league as a whole, the percentage of players that represent minor league teams is really small compared to the amount of teams, a Saturday and Sunday league, the amount of players that we have in playing in the National League. It's really only a handful of them representing teams in the minor league. So it can sway both sides, depends on which side you lean on.
Okay. Matthew talks about mobility, Lenny. Do you see minor league as being positioned in a way where, okay, the youngsters coming out of school can maybe, get their start in one of the clubs and then move into the minor league? Do you see that kind of seamless movement happening, or are we a long way from there?
I'll answer that. A long way from that. It's too much, and to be blunt, too much behind the scene selection happen. And if the youngsters coming out of school, say from New York area, have no chance of making a minor league team unless you know somebody. Let me ask any one of you here: how many kids from New York is in a minor league team right now? Matt?
Not a lot. If any.
I'll probably say zero.
Yep.
So yeah, and again, this is why I will minor league. It's a good lead in a sense, but they need to change a lot of things to make it impactful and make it meaningful. For example, the T20 is a waste of time to me if they really want to help cricket move forward and help the game develop. It's a good system, like Matt was saying. You now have a better pathway, but 20 overs, you have all these expats coming here. I don't want to use that word, sorry. You have all these overseas guys coming here and hogging the spots and bowling 4 overs and batting at number 1. And the locals are not getting the chance. The players who really have to represent USA is not getting the exposure they really needed. So in a sense, I barely watch it this season because it doesn't give me that urge to watch it, because it's not really doing anything impactful. If that's the word, it's a good concept, but this T20, like I was telling someone, if minor league is T20 or minor league is 50 over, it will still get the same following. Nobody's gonna go to the ground to watch minor league. But we will follow it on TV or YouTube or on the scorecard. So if they play 50 overs, which can really help grow this game to a different level and cut out some of these backdoor deals, minor league can be really, really impactful.
I can't hear you.
You're on mute.
I'm sorry, but
yeah.
Thank you for that, Dave. Lenny, any response from you?
Sorry, Len.
Yeah, that's all right. Look, I mean, I think minor league is a good platform. What I would have probably liked to see a little bit more league engagement, league engagement in the process, in that, so everybody benefited from it in some ways. I mean, look, there's playoff this week in New York for all these teams, and guys will have to decide if they go to play minor league or they're gonna stay with their local club. And it's tough. It's tough calls for them to make. If they go away from their local club, then guys are may want to question their loyalty, and then they signed on to minor league. They've got some minor league teams engagements, and so it's a little tough for the cricketers to really pinpoint where they want to go this weekend. What I would have wanted to see is like a lot more engagement with the league with regards to minor league assignments. And I know it's tough, but minor league runs on for like a couple of months, and league cricket still has to play. And they're like Matt said, depending how you look at it, it's one of those things that is pretty debatable. And depending which way you want to take, you might see some good, you might see some disadvantage in both sides, the league side, the minor league side, and it's a thing. But I would think minor league is a good step up, getting a chance for everybody across the country to play in a top level tournament. And then of course we've seen the success of the major league, so it's a chance for you to transition from your local club then on to minor league, and then of course a chance uh, to play at major league level. So it has to be good.
I don't know
All
about
right.
that major league level, and not if you're gonna fly in today and consider yourself local, or they name you local.
Right, right. We're gonna touch on that point in a short while. Um, Ralph, how has the expansion and the coming of minor league affected, like your kind would be like an exhibition game? How it affected you?
Well, it's similar like what Lenny was talking earlier, where these guys have commitment to the minor league, and same thing like they have commitment to their clubs. Because this weekend, I mean, the Indo-Caribbean Federation game has been around for a long time, and we always play on that third Saturday in August. And however, things have changed. They have playoffs going on with the local competitions. You have minor league, so these players are split all over the place. So you will not get the commitment to these players because their loyalty belongs to their club or to the minor league, and it does. I mean, we on the other hand, we have to be proactive because we're not getting the type of players that we think we would like to get for this game, a game of this stature. So we at some point in time we have to reschedule our dates. I know we've been doing it for the past 20 something years in the third week in August, but so many cricketers coming up during that period of time. So we either have to play it after the playoffs or before, so you can get the majority of the players, good quality players, to play in this game.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. We watching the T30 podcast. All right. Please like and share. And we'll be back in a moment. We're talking about minor league cricket.
Get a lot of turn on this surface, man. We'll come into bowl to Mukamala. Into the offside catch. So Mukamala will have to go, and it appears Prajapati has taken a very good catch. And the second wicket goes down here for the Stallions. They're batting at 15 for 2.
What a grab that. Vandit Prajapati going over his head. As we take another look at this, a wicket for Nisaj Desai. Sai Mukamala getting a thick slice. Look at that. Airborne is Vandit Prajapati to take that one. And the Manhattan Yorkers, they've continued to apply pressure on the Stallions. And that pressure has paid off yet again. Saiteja Mukamala this time has to go. It's 15 for 2. A rough start continues here for the New Jersey Stallions.
All right. Matthew, Dave has suggested that if we want to really develop the game of cricket, that he doesn't think the 20 over format may necessarily be the best way to go. Maybe 50 over. What's your take on that?
I think T20, I think really at the end of the day is both the present and the future. I think, yes, you can use perhaps the USA's recent struggle in ODIs as an argument, but in terms of really to have a franchise tournament, especially one that is as long and has as many teams as minor league, I find it would be very difficult to play a 50 over, because really you're only limited to maybe one game per day at a certain venue. And we've already talked about how tough scheduling has been when it comes to minor league to exhibition games like the ICF to league commitments. It's very difficult. And there's a lot of cricket being played all across the country. So to give a 50 over format to minor league, I'm not sure is the way to go. I think from a franchise perspective, T20 cricket is the way. Although I do think maybe to have some kind of 50 over tournament, maybe on a smaller scale, to have a little bit more of them, probably wouldn't hurt as well. But I think minor league is fine where it is as a T20 format.
Okay. From where you're sitting, Ralph, as you listen, as you know, you're not a league owner, but you're a passionate fan of the game, long-term fan. Do you think that the 20 over is necessarily the best thing in terms of growing the game currently?
Well, Nancy, the thing about it, 20 over is a marketing kind of game. It's exhibition game. I don't look at real cricket. I see people coming over here, they're trying to, 3 hours the game is over. I agree with Dave about a 50 over game. I believe in 50 over game because there you can see the natural talent of any player. In 4 overs, a guy bowled 4 overs, you can't really tell the quality of bowling. For instance, you have a guy like Mohammed Amir who played, the top level of cricket for Pakistan. And last night I saw him bowl 4 over for 40-something runs. I don't see that as cricket. The player, you don't see the true quality of a player like the 4-day format or the 50 over. It's totally different. And I'm not a big fan of 20 over cricket. I want to see a player stand there and battle it out. For instance, like in a test match, you can see the skills of a player, for bowler and batsman. There you can see, like Viv Richards would always say that 20 over cricket is just like like a circus.
Okay. Dev, what do you think? People now getting into the game in the US, and if
think
if the 20 over proliferates, and that's all there is. What do you think that they're losing by not partaking in the longer format? What is being lost?
Skills, the technical skills of the game. Here's my thing. Major league, I'm totally supportive of T20. I got no problem. That's where the money is at. Minor league, ain't nobody making money, and they will never make money. I'm being dead honest. It's just a waste of money. Now, you want to run minor league for whatever hype you want to create it, that's fine. But that's not developing no cricket here. That's not bringing one new fan through the door. That's you're losing momentum in a sense, certain ways, and you're gaining a little bit here and there. But my point is, minor league, the concept is good. For me, the overs need to switch. And if you really want to make an inroad with the players that's coming in here to play and the local players, and they competing, they will learn much more playing against each other in a longer format of the game. 4 overs, not cutting it, man. 20 overs is not cutting it. It's like sometimes you come in, you're barely facing few ball, or for me, no. Minor league, I lost. I'm not even anymore because it doesn't give that bang anymore. But I see a lot of players. Look at these. They kill for turf wicket. Look at the turf wicket down in New Jersey. That thing needs some more work. What's the point? I think a game playing at Idlewild Park would have been better than Morrison Ground. Albany looks okay. Still needs some work, but I mean, you got to appreciate that they are making the move to bring turf wickets, but at the same time, we shouldn't rush these things. We need to sit down and analyze how is this really making an impact, right? Rush it to create a hype or to get notice is not cutting it. You know. But again, back to the minor league concept. For me, it's not really doing anything. Yes, for the people who was involved, I guess they feel that way. But for me, as an outsider looking at the sport that we love, it's not.
Okay. From what you have seen so far, being at a few minor league games, Lenny, how can we get more fans into the door? How can minor league do a better job of selling itself, or can it do a better job of selling itself?
Yeah, I look. When it comes to the New York area, right? When it comes to the New York, New Jersey area, I think a point of concern is that we're lagging behind. We're lagging behind the facilities that are probably available in Texas or Morrisville or even in California. So when Dave spoke about the conditions that games in the minor league are played on at the present, I see that, and I know that New York, New Jersey is going to be some ways off from really getting proper facility. We don't have a proper turf pitch in all of New York. Um, in the last couple of weeks, we heard this big project coming to Van Cortlandt Park. We don't know how serious that is, but with as it relates to a place where people can say, you know what, Saturday or Sunday, I'm gonna go to this venue and watch cricket. We're all over the place. Um, Idlewild Park is a good park, but it doesn't have turf pitch, so minor league is not gonna go there. So the places where you'll probably on a Sunday or Saturday decide to go, you can't go there anymore because there's no minor league playing there. All right, and the ones in New Jersey, the ones up in Schenectady, is really too far for anyone in central New York to really go and see. Now, with regards to the other venues, I am not too sure how the fans are really heading out there. I know Morrisville always has a big fan following, so Morrisville is good. Texas has been, if you have a reason to go, you go. But other than that, I think a lot of fans are really watching online, not necessarily going to the venue. But in particular, I'm talking about New York, New Jersey. We're lagging behind. I don't know when we'll have decent facility that we can start seeing minor league games here, and not only that, to allow our players to play on facility that minor leagues really certified to play on.
All
I
right, we're
didn't,
gonna take up.
I didn't see
Go
the
ahead.
point of moving the games from Idlewild Park to where they go now. Anyway, I think that was. I mean, Idlewild Ground was perfect. Just saying they don't have turf doesn't. I mean, it's 20 overs. They're not gonna learn much from that playing on the mat. And anyway, if
Yeah,
it was perfect, yeah.
and Dave, my take on T20 cricket, by the way, and I know I just wanted to think. I'm a big fan of T20 cricket.
Me
The,
too.
the fact is T20 cricket, right, really produces some brave players. You see a lot of skill. It's a very skillful game. I
No,
I would
and
I wouldn't disagree. Look, you look at the India team, for example. A lot of these guys, and look at the Indian team now that plays Test cricket. Jaiswal, where did you think they find him from? Hardik
no,
Pandya, right?
and
All these guys, a lot of these guys from this present Indian team were spotted in the IPL playing T20 cricket. And
right,
then, of course,
but
now that you
but
find that these guys are brave, they're sharp,
but
they're skillful,
but but
they're
but
good enough to
but
adapt to the other
but
levels
but
to play
but
red
here
ball and white ball cricket. So,
I, I,
personally,
I, I
me, I'm I'm a big fan of T20 cricket, and I think players can segue into the other format now that you've seen the kind of skill that they portray.
no, I think what I'm trying to say. A lot of emphasis was put on those players to get the opportunity in these IPL. People say, "Oh, you can't tell franchise what to do." BCCI is telling them franchise who to play because they know, okay, these are the guys who is going to represent India sooner or later. Get them here. That's not getting done in our minor league. Okay, yeah, it's you come in with some talent from overseas, and that's where the emphasis is on. It's people not gonna agree with the way I see it, but we like T20 cricket. Nobody's denied. That's the only way Americans is gonna watch cricket here because of the shorter format. But if we want to create a good product, and if Ace or minor lead wants to help, the only way, well, it's not the only way, 50 overs and that this T20 minor lead is gonna help. It's not. This T20 minor lead is not helping, and people are gonna say that's not their job not to help. But I mean, based on the commercial contract, I think it is.
All right. You're watching Tea30. We'll be back shortly. Ralph, I know there's usually a cultural element to your games, so tell us what fans can expect this weekend, in addition to a game of cricket where they'll be seeing some legends play.
Actually, this year, Nancy, we're not gonna have that this year because
Okay.
the commitment are not there for any of our, local performers, So, and then the time factor also, that comes in consideration because we are playing two games, and we start at 10 o'clock, and as you can see, the place is getting darker earlier now.
Right.
So we want the games to be completed,
Okay.
But we will bring that back next year, by the way.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Next, when we meet, I really want us to delve deeper into, the format and what format would be best in terms of if you're inviting a new crowd, a new country to be a part of that game. T20 undoubtedly, it's exciting. It's something we like watching, we like enjoying. I will quickly close with a closing question, and then we'll go deep into it next week. Starting with you, Matthew. Do you think that had you not have a background in seeing some test cricket, seeing some first class cricket, seeing 50 overs, and learning about, being part of the intrigue of what happens day to day, and really developing an appreciation of cricket from that standpoint? Do you think that had you not had that been absent, would you still be as excited about T20 cricket today?
No, not at all. I probably most likely wouldn't even be interested in the sport as a whole, regardless of the format, because as we all know, the U.S. isn't a nation that really promotes cricket, that it's really a mainstream sport. I pretty much inherited all of the knowledge, all of the love I have for cricket from my dad, and had he not been such an avid cricket fan, no, I wouldn't be in the position I am in today.
Okay, all right. So Lenny, basically the same question to you. Can we really get a nation to embrace cricket without them really knowing, quote unquote, cricket?
Look,
as exciting as T20 might be.
I've always said that the local cricketing community, wherever you go, whether in New York, you go to Texas, you go to Chicago, we have done very little to engage the real Americans into the sport. We've done a poor job in engaging people who are in positions to help cricket facilities or to move the game of cricket beyond than just playing the game. Right? I've got a friend in Atlanta who every year they have an annual police and fire department cricket match, and they invite the police and they invite the fire department to come and play the game. And they're all American. They don't even know to hold a bat. They don't even what they learn, and they come annually and they play a game, and because of that, they've engaged the broader cricketing community. Of course, when I talk about the cricketing community, we're talking about us, the expatriates who come from the West Indies, India, and Pakistan or Bangladesh, and we play this thing every week. We don't and we kind of shut ourselves in because we don't invite people who don't know the game or people who don't want to know the game. Why don't we sometime try to engage the softball, baseball team around our area? They can swing a bat, they can hit a ball, they know what fielding is, they can catch, and get them involved. Um, with that said, I was thinking even bigger. Look, we just had the major league, right? Would it have hurt one of those franchises to have a professional baseball player in that lineup? Get him to go outside and field a couple of balls. That may bring awareness to the thousands or the millions of professional baseball fans watching and say, hey, you know what? Aaron Judd is playing in Dallas this week. He's part of some cricket team. He's playing over there. You never know. You never know how many eyeballs or how many people probably gonna watch and see. Well, there's a professional baseball team, baseball player, part of a cricket lineup, and it's going down in Dallas. You never know, man. But we've done a poor job. I've got to say, we've done a poor job in engaging people with non-cricketing background, and I think we're paying a price for it because when people see that, well, this is a game of expat guys down the block. They're very much to themselves. They don't even invite us. We live right here. July 4th comes, Memorial Day comes, and all they do is play cricket, and they've never told us to come see what they're doing. And we've never engaged them. And because sometimes these are powerful people, these people make county decisions. They make decision as a federal level, and you never know who you'll run into one day. Maybe that's the guy who decide what goes into what park. Maybe that's the guy who will give you all the permit. Maybe this is the guy who will probably put lights in the park.
Exactly. Thank you for those points, Lenny.
let, let
Dave,
me
your closing remarks.
yeah, let me hear Dave on this one, man.
Wait, what was the question again?
Have we done a good job in reaching out, Dave?
Not necessarily. No, definitely not. But I think we're heading there one step at a time after a very long time. But yeah, I mean, there was time when New York made good progress, but they weren't able to move forward with their progress. But yeah, back to the point of like where yes, we can definitely with major league. See, the first thing is the U.S. national team have to become be more competitive. With the World Cup next year, it might help creating more fan base outside. It depends on how they compete. We could go back to 1994. Many people wasn't following soccer, but because the U.S. national team did good in Atlanta, I think it was, many people started following soccer that year. That's when soccer really hit. So it's all about USA cricket producing a good product and being competitive in the international scene that more people will pick it up. And with major league here now, yeah, definitely with the 3 hour format or the 20 over format, there's definitely a market outside the expat community.
And Dave, not let me just jump in here. You see that stadium that they used in Texas, Grand Prairie?
Right.
That was a baseball stadium converted. I'm pretty sure during the course of that minor league, hundreds of baseball fans just went by to see what's happening at the Airhawks.
Right. I think so too because I think
Right?
there's a
They just went by and see. Well, I hear cricket has taken over this park. Let's see what's going on here. Matt, what's your take on that?
yeah. I think a lot of people did go out there because of that. You know, I think here's the thing: Major League is doing very good in their marketing. I can tell you that if they continue, we're definitely gonna get some new people for sure. There's no doubt about that. That's the type of marketing U.S. cricket needs. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, I will leave Ralph to have the final word to remind us about what's going on this weekend. And when we come back next week, we're gonna, go look closely at the whole issue of scheduling, whether the T20 and T50, the 50 format is better to introduce the game, and how do we really get people to embrace and get the passion into them. Ralph, you close us out.
All right. Once again, to all the viewers, I like once again to invite you guys to come out on Saturday. Great weather, and we're gonna have Lenny gonna be doing commentary along with Matthew there. And come out, guys. Bring your family, your friends. Come out and have a good day of cricket, fun-filled day of cricket. It's gonna not only about cricket, but you socializing, meeting people from different countries, and also enjoying your game. There's gonna be a lot of food and all that stuff there. So, invite you guys once again to come out and have a good day.
Yeah,
Guys,
Anansi, just before you go, I just want to
Go,
say
go ahead.
something about the game. I know the rest of the Caribbean team, Ralph, has enjoyed many years of success. Um, I can't recall what happened last year. Did Guyana win?
Yes,
Okay,
Ghana,
well,
Ghana won after 4 years.
yeah, well, I know Guyana this year will be led by Avi Dan Paul, and Renwick Batson will lead the rest of the Caribbean. And I just gotta say something. The two captains, Renwick Batson has won with the rest of the Caribbean team for a while, so he leads a good charge. And also Avi Dan Paul, I gotta single him out to say that from what I know, he's such an upright gentleman. In that he is gonna leave his local league team to come play in the ICF. So he's leading the Guyana side. I know Ralph at some point had mentioned that a man that has really stood on his word and has done a lot of work to really get the Guyana team and get this event together. So Avi Dan Paul will be leading the Guyana team, right, Ralph?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for
guys,
that, Lenny.
I,
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead, Dave.
I want to wish the U.S. and the 19 team good luck tomorrow against Canada. Is win and is World Cup. Lose and we come home. Simple as that. Boys, all the luck. Bring it.
Yeah.
Yep, cheer them on.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and folks. We'll be back here same time next Thursday.
Thank you, Nat.
Take care, guys.